Many people start a business thinking funding is only about money. In reality, choosing between bootstrapping and venture capital funding quietly shapes how much control you keep, how much pressure you face, and what kind of business you end up running. One path gives you independence and slower, steady growth. The other offers speed, capital, and expectations that never slow down. In this video, we will clearly break down bootstrapping versus VC funding in a practical way. You will understand how each option affects growth, control, stress, and long-term direction, so you can decide which path is truly right for you, your business, and the life you want to build. How to decide between bootstrapping and VC funding. To decide between bootstrapping and venture capital funding, it helps to compare them side by side in a very practical way, like two paths with different costs and rewards. Point 1 is control. With bootstrapping, you stay in full control. You decide what to build, when to grow, and when to slow down. VC funding, on the other hand, means shared control. Investors get a say, boards get involved, and decisions are no longer just yours. If freedom matters more than speed, bootstrapping is usually better. Point 2 is growth speed. Bootstrapping supports steady organic growth. You grow as revenue grows. VC funding is designed for fast growth. If your market rewards being first or biggest, venture capital may be the better fit. If slow and stable growth is enough, bootstrapping wins. Point 3 is pressure. Bootstrapped founders face internal pressure, mostly from their own goals and cash limits. VC-backed founders face external pressure, deadlines, targets, and constant expectations. If you work better without outside stress, bootstrapping is safer. At this stage, pause for a moment and think about how you personally react to pressure. Not pressure in theory, but real pressure. Deadlines, expectations, constant questions, and the feeling that every decision is being watched. Some founders perform better when someone is pushing them hard. Others quietly burn out without realizing it. Neither is right or wrong. The mistake happens when founders choose a path that does not match their personality. Many first-time founders say they want fast growth, but what they actually want is certainty. They think funding will reduce stress, but for many, it increases it. On the other side, bootstrapping is not stress-free either. It brings slow months, self-doubt, and financial limits. The difference is who controls the pressure. With bootstrapping, pressure is internal. With venture capital funding, pressure becomes external and constant. This is why copying someone else's funding journey is dangerous. What looks exciting from the outside may feel overwhelming on the inside. Before moving forward, keep watching and ask yourself honestly which type of pressure you handle better. This answer alone eliminates half the confusion most founders face. Point 4 is risk. In bootstrapping, the main risk is your own time and money. In VC funding, the risk includes reputation, investor capital, and future career impact. If failure feels easier to handle when it is personal and private, bootstrapping fits better. Point 5 is business model fit. Bootstrapping works best for service businesses, agencies, consulting, SaaS with low costs, and niche products that earn early revenue. VC funding works best for large-scale platforms, deep tech, or global products that need heavy upfront investment. Here, the best option depends entirely on what you are building. At this point, many founders realize that the funding decision is not really about money, but about the kind of business they are building. Two founders can start on the same day with the same skills and still need completely different funding paths. A service business with paying clients behaves very differently from a platform that needs millions of users to work. Yet first-time founders often ignore this and choose funding based on stories they hear online. They see headlines, valuations, and success stories, but they do not see the businesses that quietly failed because the funding model did not match the business model. Bootstrapping forces a business to earn its way forward. Venture capital funding allows a business to buy time and speed, but only if the model can actually scale. If your business cannot grow faster with more money, funding will not fix it. It will only increase expectations. This is why understanding your business model matters more than understanding funding terms. Money should amplify what already works, not compensate for what is unclear. Keep watching, because the next points will help you decide not just how to fund your business, but what kind of founder journey you are actually choosing. Point 6 is lifestyle and role. Bootstrapping often gives founders flexibility, better work-life balance, and long-term ownership. VC funding usually turns founders into full-time growth operators with little room to slow down. If lifestyle matters, bootstrapping often feels better. Point 7 is the end goal. Bootstrapping is ideal if you want a profitable, long-lasting business you own. VC funding makes more sense if you want a high-growth journey with a possible exit. In the end, the best choice is not what sounds impressive, but what aligns with how you want to build, live, and lead your business. Many real founders show how different funding paths work in practice. MailChimp's founder Ben Chestnut bootstrapped the company for years by focusing on paying customers instead of investors. Because the business generated revenue early, he could grow calmly, stay profitable, and keep full control. On the other side, Brian Chesky of Airbnb chose venture funding because the idea needed fast global expansion, trust building, and heavy marketing. Bootstrapping would have slowed them down and allowed competitors to win. Another example is Sarah Blakely, founder of Spanx, who bootstrapped with her savings, tested demand carefully, and scaled only after the product proved itself. Compare that with Mark Zuckerberg, who raised venture capital money early because Facebook's value depended on rapid user growth, not immediate profits. These founders did not choose funding based on trends. They matched funding to their business model, growth needs, and personal goals. That is the real lesson most people miss. Before you raise money, understand this big mistake. Before you raise money, it is critical to understand 5 big mistakes that first-time founders often make. The first mistake is raising money to feel secure instead of solving real business problems. Funding does not remove confusion, it increases pressure. The second mistake is raising money without a clear business model. If revenue, costs, or customers are unclear, funding only speeds up failure. The third mistake is ignoring the loss of control. Investors bring expectations, targets, and influence that many founders are not ready for. The fourth mistake is copying other founders' paths without understanding why those founders raised money in the first place. Every business grows differently. The fifth mistake is choosing funding before defining long-term goals. Some founders want freedom and stability. Others want fast scale and exits. When money is raised without this clarity, it becomes a burden instead of a tool. Smart founders raise money with purpose, not pressure. Before you go, tell us in the comments, if you had to choose today, would you build with bootstrapping or raise VC funding? And what's the main reason behind your choice? If this video gave you clarity, like it so more founders can find it. Share it with someone deciding how to fund their business, and subscribe for more clear, real-world startup guidance.